Long before selfies existed, people were already telling cautionary tales about self-obsession. The ancient Greek myth of Narcissus is the classic example. A strikingly handsome young man who spurned the affections of others, including a nymph named Echo, until he stumbled upon his own reflection in a pool of water. He fell so completely in love with what he saw that he couldn't look away, and eventually died there. A flower grew where he fell, and we still call it the narcissus today. That story gave us the word, but modern psychology has turned narcissism into something much more precise than a moral fable. It's a set of measurable personality traits. What narcissism actually means. At its core, narcissism involves an exaggerated, inflated sense of self-worth. People high in narcissistic traits tend to see themselves as smarter, more attractive, and more deserving than those around them. Psychologists generally break this down into two flavors. Grandiose narcissism looks like confidence turned up to 11, outgoing, domineering, hungry for the spotlight. You'll often find these traits among people drawn to fame, leadership, or public life. Worth noting, plenty of leaders and public figures pursue those paths for genuinely good reasons. It's the underlying motivation, status seeking for its own sake, that marks the narcissistic version. Vulnerable narcissism is quieter and easy to miss. These individuals may seem shy or withdrawn, but underneath is the same sense of entitlement, paired with real fragility. Criticism or perceived slights can hit hard. Both types share a darker undercurrent over time. Because narcissistic people tend to prioritize themselves, this can translate into reckless or unethical choices from leaders, or dishonesty and betrayal from partners. And when their self-image gets challenged, the reaction is often anger or resentment rather than reflection. It's often said that narcissism doesn't hurt the narcissist, it hurts everyone around them. When it becomes a disorder. At the far end of the spectrum sits narcissistic personality disorder, a clinical diagnosis affecting roughly 1 to 2% of people, more often men. It's exclusively diagnosed in adults. Self-centeredness in kids is usually just a normal stage of growing up, not pathology. The American Psychiatric Association's Diagnostic Manual, the DSM-5, lists the hallmark features: a grandiose self-view, difficulty empathizing with others, entitlement, and a constant craving for admiration. What separates the disorder from the trait is severity. These patterns take over relationships and daily functioning. Picture someone who treats their own family primarily as a source of praise, or who meets every piece of constructive criticism with denial and blame. Where does it come from? Twin studies point to a real genetic component, though scientists haven't pinned down which specific genes are involved. Upbringing plays a role too. Children treated as superior or special by parents may develop grandiose traits, while cold or overly controlling parenting is linked to the vulnerable type. Culture matters as well. Societies that celebrate individual achievement and self-promotion tend to see higher levels of narcissism. In the US, for instance, measured narcissism has climbed since the 1970s, as the communal spirit of the 60s gave way to a stronger emphasis on self-esteem and material success. Social media often gets blamed for accelerating this, but the research is more nuanced. There's no solid evidence it causes narcissism. It's better understood as a new stage for people who are already narcissistic to perform on. Can people change? The encouraging answer is yes. Therapy, honest self-reflection, and deliberately practicing empathy toward others can all help shift these patterns. The catch is that narcissism itself makes this work harder. Sustained self-improvement requires looking honestly at your own flaws, which is exactly
the kind of unflattering self-view narcissistic tendencies are built to avoid.